Well, and CB, man, congratulations, man. It's an honor to watch you play. Okay, I have not been to Minnesota in probably 20 years.
Bring your ass.
Hey, can you send me a list of good restaurants? We're going to be there for like 5 days. I want you to send me a list of some good restaurants, okay?
Yeah. I'm gonna find your number through somebody. I'm gonna send them to you.
I appreciate it, my brother. Congratulations. I'll see you Wednesday.
Appreciate it, baby.
Well, if you want his number, it's 5-5. No.
Hey.
Early thoughts on playing the Mavs?
It's gonna be fun, man. You know, my matchup gonna be Kyrie, so that's gonna be fun. We're gonna see what I can do versus him.
Appreciate.
And a good Monday afternoon to everybody. How we doing? How was the weekend? Ry-doe in Sacktown with you. The King's Court live. Busy day on If You Don't Like That. And when I say busy, I mean busy. 5 o'clock, Grant, open forum. Then 8 o'clock, Grant and Ry-doe, we're doing a Monday night scrum. Bring your questions. It doesn't have to be about basketball. We could really talk about just about anything that you want to talk about. And by the way, y'all know this, it is a Ry-doe Monday, so we're going to get to those in a little bit. If you have any does, let me know because I'm ready to go with the does. And the dog doesn't like them. Anyways, hey, I don't know about all you. If you listen to the King's Court, either of them this weekend, I have been chomping, and I mean literally chomping at the bit. C-Dog is saying, or Condog, excuse me. Yeah, Condog. You know, when C-Dog 25's in here and I call you Condog, you know, we're going to talk because I've got some emails about this, about you actually. Why am I getting emails about Condog? I don't know. We'll see. But as I was going to say, I have been chomping at the bit to get with all of you today. This was a bad weekend, a really bad weekend for the Sacramento Kings. There's no other way to put it. Like, literally no other way to put it. Yes, I have been getting emails about you, believe it or not. Yes. And I know you'll call eventually, but I do need to talk to you about a little something once you call up. What's up to Dora? Happy
Holy
Monday.
moly, Jimbo Bowley.
Happy Monday, everybody checking in. Thank you for the heads up. Dave, what's up, buddy? Welcome to the show. I'm a big fan of you, Grant and Jerry. Hey, how about the Timberwolves last night? My goodness, I was wrong with both of my predictions. Super wrong. I thought the Knicks would roll. Attrition caught up to them. But you know what? The Knicks didn't lose that game. They didn't. The Pacers won that game. You shoot above 70% in a playoff game. You finish above 60% shooting. It's a really hard thing to win. Really hard. I don't care where you're playing. Yeah, C-Dog, what's up, buddy? I miss you. Let's go. I love it. All right, so we might as well just get this out of the way right now. Condog, dude, what's up, brother? First off, can I call you Corn Dog? Can you be Corn Dog from now on?
Sure.
Are we good?
I really don't care.
All right, Corn Dog it is, everybody. You are glossed.
Sometimes I get called Corn Dog at work anyway, so.
All right. Happy Monday, Steely Beats. Welcome in. A lot to go over today. So how was the weekend, Corn Dog? Excuse me, Corn Dog.
Pretty good. So I guess I actually can start off with some does for you.
All right,
So-
all right.
So Costco, we've been having a sort of spirit month or whatever, and 2 of the days was superhero themed, and I'm the only one who dresses up.
Oh, adults in costumes. Here we go. All right. So what'd you dress up as?
I have Spider-Man and a Wolverine.
Okay. All right.
I'm
All
the only
right.
one- am I the only one who gets the memo here?
So I gotta ask, it can't be comfortable working in a costume all day, is it?
I mean, honestly, my job's not too body movement heavy because I'm just on a electric pallet jack all day, which is kind of like a stand-up forklift, except with really long forks to just pick up multiple pallets. So now, if I was like, stacking boxes all day or loading
Yeah.
trailers, no, impossible.
Yeah, it'd be pretty tough. There's no doubt about that. So, anything from the weekend that you want to touch on? Because I've got a full plate. I mean, again, it was a bad weekend for the Kings.
I talked to my older brother, and yeah, we just kind of agreed that there's just a lot of needs of the Kings, and honestly, a lot of the trading is gonna revolve around which team kind of wants to blow it up. And we just don't know the answer to that at the moment on what pieces they want to blow up and stuff, because that's where the real value is going to be at, is teams that actually want to get rid of players. And we don't know. It could be from it could be from the Heat. It could be from the Hawks, the Sixers, the Bulls.
Yeah, the Bulls.
Who knows?
Well, if you're waiting for another team to blow it up, that means that you're ready to possibly blow it up. Is that kind of where you and you said your friend or your brother were
My
talking? Brother. Is that where you guys are at with the Kings?
Or not entirely blow it up, but honestly, my brother's actually willing to even trade Keon Ellis, which a lot of people
he doesn't have he doesn't have any trade value.
Yeah.
It'd be pointless. You get way more out of him than what you would get back for him.
Yeah, he said pretty much just maybe just keep Sabonis and maybe a defensive guard around Fox, like maybe a Jimmy Butler if the Heat want to blow that up.
Yeah, it would take something for sure for the Kings, but I've got an entire thing on. Did you listen to either episode of the King's Court this weekend?
I was jam-packed this weekend.
Okay. Good. I'm sure some of you missed it. Those that heard it, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to hear it back. But
yeah,
there's just a few realizations that I came to over the weekend, really looking at the Kings and their makeup of the roster, and we'll get to those in a few minutes. But here's something that's undebatable: Halliburton is greater than Fox. It's done for the time being. That debate is done.
Yeah. 100% agree. I can't debate that because somebody's in a conference finals and we barely sniffed the first round exit within the last year and not even a playoff spot this year.
Yep. And and I don't want to tie that back to the Halliburton and Domas trade because it has nothing to do with it. But Hallie is a better guard. He is a better NBA guard than De'Aaron Fox.
I'd say he actually knows how to lead the Pacers a little better than Fox does on the Kings sometimes. And again, I'm a huge overall talent wise, I love Fox, but yeah, there's a lot of times where I feel like if he wants to be that max guy, I feel like he just doesn't step up to the plate when he really needs to. This last season especially.
Yeah, and it's not just, you're right. It's the stepping up to the plate. I think that there's some middle ground there. They didn't have much help, but I think if you just look at the numbers of where the Kings are at and the contracts in the next couple of years, and I think maybe I've put together a little bit of that missing puzzle because, De'Aaron's contract, I believe, was going to be up before Sabonis's, and they locked in to Sabonis long term, and I'm fine with that. But I don't think Sabonis was going to be going anywhere last offseason or when his contract expired. He was happy in a small market. He's only known small markets, and so if I'm De'Aaron Fox, does that kind of piss me off a little bit? Maybe, and I'm piggybacking on the Rudy Gay comments, right? Like where it's like, oh, you wasted my prime. Well, why didn't you go out and get some help? for De'Aaron in the postseason last year or in the offseason. It's just hard to contemplate. And the fact that Dallas is in the conference finals, you don't think that that's got the Kings front office up in a tizzy probably, and Vivek?
Oh, for
I
sure.
would be pissed. The Kings were positioned better than Dallas when the trade deadline rolled around. I think they were 2-0 on the season series against Dallas at that point. And Dallas gets better for relatively cheap. And now you're in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, and we were also a team positioned to get Luka ahead of Dallas.
Well, they went a different way. They went Bagley there. But just, I mean, if we not even go back that far, we just talk about this last season, what Dallas did the season before, what LA did. Like, I've said it all year. I said it on damn near every post-game
you've
show.
said it. You talked about if not this trade deadline, but the one before.
For sure. But then on top of that, I've said the West is wide ass open. We've said it all season. So, like, the fact that we're here, where Dallas is in the conference finals, I'm not going to make a big deal about Minnesota being there. They deserve to be there. I'm excited to watch Minnesota be there. But Minnesota, Dallas, you are going to have a new representative out of the West. And that was a group coming into the season that we thought the Kings might be ahead of. Minnesota, Dallas. They weren't, especially at the end of the season.
I think this is the first time in the Western Conference where there's been a 5-year stretch of a different team in the finals out of the West.
Yeah, they said that last night.
They
said that last night.
Yeah, because usually, it was either just Spurs, Warriors, Lakers, Spurs, Warriors, Lakers.
Yeah, for sure. All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate the call and I appreciate the heads up. I literally got emails like, are you sure he wants to be called Corn Dog? Is it mean? Is it not? So is it mean? Do you, because the fans want to hear Corn Dog. Like, they know who Corn Dog is, but I don't want to get on Grant grounds, how Grant kind of rattled the nest the other day. I got emails about that too, by the way. Shout out to Peter.
Well, I guess I am very popular on this program.
You are, dude. You kick us off, man. I appreciate it, and I'll add a doe in there for you on the wheel about coworkers that don't participate in dress up.
Well, no, yeah. You know what? Let me go a little bit on that because coworkers complain how companies.
It's all yours.
They don't. They always complain about how companies don't do nothing for them or anything, and then when they give them a chance to have fun, they don't do nothing. Like, come on, man. That's a big doe right there. Like how are you gonna expect them to do something for you? Right? It's like a player wanting a max contract, but he goes out and just doesn't even shoot the ball.
Exactly. You know what? I once had a friend that complained because his employer bought him pizza and they didn't give him plates.
Come on.
There you go. That's saying it right there. So, hey, dude, appreciate the call.
All right, man.
All right, we'll talk soon. That is Corn Dog in the house. I love it. Guru, I see your question. I will get to it in a second. If no Monk, Kings are done. You know what? At this point, I'm not so sure if the Kings, as you've known it the last couple seasons, might not be done, regardless of Monk being there or not. I'll explain in a minute. Dave hopping back in. Everyone in the West is getting stronger, except the Kings. Sucks. Okay, let's talk about this for a few minutes. And if you listen to the Kings Court on Sunday, it was literally titled "Anyone But Dallas." Anyone but Dallas. And the reason that I said anyone but Dallas is because what I just started to lay out right now with Con Dog. It's like, dude, this team, the Kings were competitive with Dallas all year. I know the Kings ran into injuries, but how if you're Vivek Ranadive? How if you're the fan base? Are you not a little perturbed and frustrated right now? I certainly, I think we were already frustrated, but the margins between good and very good teams in the West, in the NBA, is razor freaking thin. It is so thin. And we've watched 2 trade deadlines pass where 2 teams that were below having a home playoff series greatly improved for cheap, while the Kings sat at home and did nothing. Now, Monty McNair has made great moves when he makes them. He has drafted well. I've explained how I like all that. But it's not very often. It's not. Look at even right now in the playoffs. There is not a favorite to win this championship. I mean, maybe Boston, maybe, but they've been incredibly inconsistent. I look at the energy coming out of Indiana, much better than what I'm seeing in Boston and Minnesota. Look, you can go back and you can watch all of the shows we did leading up to the season. I was not a believer in Minnesota. I was not. Now I am. And it's because of Ant. I stand by what I said about Cat and Gobert, but these guys are having fun playing basketball. It's so apparent. They are having fun. They know each other's roles. They trust each other. Ant was completely taken out of the first half yesterday, completely taken out of it. And what happens? How does Ant get back in the game? Defense. Defense. He locks up Jamal Murray in the third quarter, the fourth quarter. He had no rhythm. He had no flow. Yes, Mike Conley is a big piece of that. He absolutely is. He knows his freaking role, and he cherishes his role. Saying the T-Wolves are the favorite, that does not surprise me. I've not been looking at that. But, the Kings, that's what's so hard about this. They were not that far off from these two teams. They were not. Now, we don't have an Anthony Edwards. I get that. We don't have a Luka. I get that. But the Kings don't necessarily, with the makeup of the roster as it is, need one of those guys. In fact, I would argue having one of those guys would hurt the way this team plays, because this team doesn't want to play, or at least Mike Brown is not in the brand of isolation basketball. And that's what you're getting into. But when you have a guy like Anthony Edwards, that's a different conversation than Luka, because he is just as much a part of that team as any. It's not a star and the rest of the guys. They are a team and they are humming, and it's really fun to watch. So going back to the Kings, the thing that's bugging me the most, again, it's salt in the wound. If Denver would have made the Western Conference Finals, all right, I get it, right? OKC, yeah, it still would have sucked. It still would have been a little bit tough to watch, but I get it. But these marginal teams that were good and now becoming great because they evolved. They evolved as the season went along. It's something the Kings have not done. They haven't done. And now what is the position they are in? The Kings they're in a position where Sam Amick said it with Dave and Jason. They've got to swing for the fences. That's like panic mode, right? Like it kind of feels that way. And that's with or without Malik Monk, because now that wide open West, it's now closing up because you're seeing stars emerge. You're seeing units solidify. And in Sacramento, we're kind of seeing the opposite right now. And so to see 3 Sacramento Kings combine for 91 points in Game 7 in New York, that's kind of rough. Now, I get it's been a while for some of them. Some of them were here not that long. You got Hallie in there, but 91 points. Trey Burks, what the hell did he ever do in Sacramento? Not that. He stood up and took care of business in Game 7. Granted, it wasn't enough. DiVincenzo. So I'm not going to put that on Coach Brown. I'm not going to put that on the front office. See, I don't want it to be doom and gloom. That's the thing. I don't want it to be doom and gloom, but I'm pretty sure we need to open our eyes to the reality that things are going to change here in Sacramento. And in fact, if you look at just the contract structures of what's going on with the Kings, let me get to this, because I also did this weekend on the Kings court. We've talked about nobody on this roster being untouchable, right? We've said that many a times. I will put the link again in the chat if anybody would like to call. Condon said the first link did not take, so there is the other link. But getting back to what I'm saying, with the 3 guys that we considered non-trades, they're going to be here, or maybe one of them. Okay, we're talking about Fox, Murray, and Sabonis, right? Those are the three that we're talking about. Before, it's like, okay, well, Keegan, do we want to trade Keegan? Could we trade Keegan? Whatever, we're going to give up on Keegan, and maybe he's going to be another Hallie. What's going to happen there, right? Well, De'Aaron, no, we couldn't get rid of De'Aaron. He's the man. It's his team, right? And Sabonis, like, well, you just re-signed him. I mean, Sabonis in year 27-28, league year 27-28, he's going to be making $51.2 million. Now, I get inflation is included in that. Salaries are going to go up in the coming years. So maybe that's a good deal come 27-28. But getting back to the guys that are untouchable, here's how the list goes on touchables in Sacramento. If you're looking at, from another team's perspective, the most desirable pieces from the Sacramento Kings, this is the order they go. Keegan Murray, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis. Here's why. Keegan Murray, $8 million, $8.8 million this coming year. Then it's a team option, which will most certainly be picked up. That's for $11.1 million. And then I believe player option, or I have to verify that. But the 26-27 year, 14.69, I believe it's a player option. And Keegan most certainly is not going to pick that up. He's going to want to be a free agent and get paid, okay? So teams look at Keegan. You get him for another 2 years on the cheap, right? If the Kings were to trade him this offseason, Keegan's number one. And the upside's there, right? Grant says all the time, De'Aaron Fox is what he is at this point. I don't know if I'm ready to say that yet, but I get where he's coming from, and it's a conversation we can have. Now, after Keegan, it goes De'Aaron. This is the thing that I've heard nobody in Sacramento talking about this, and I don't want it to seem like doom and gloom, but it is just the reality of the situation. I kind of hinted at it last week with Cleveland, what they're going through and the decisions they have to make with JB Bickerstaff, and then also Donovan Mitchell. Donovan still has another year on his contract, but if Cleveland does not have Donovan in their long-term plans or don't plan to re-sign him, then it's time to move him. This is the offseason to move him. It's where you're going to get your max value for him. And trade deadline, sure, you're still going to get something, but now he's truly a rental because you're only getting him for a third of the season at best and the playoffs if you're a contender, okay? So De'Aaron Fox next year, $34.8 million. I think that's fair. 25-26, $37 million, 37, basically 0.1. I'm going to round up. 26-27. Zero. Free agent, y'all. De'Aaron Fox is a free agent in 26-27. So De'Aaron Fox, second most desired piece if you are another team looking at Sacramento. Last, Sabonis. Great player. C-Dog pointed it out. He plays a style that only the great plays. The great. And the great is Jokic, and he was made to look human yesterday. And sometimes during the series, did you realize the Nuggets never scored 100 points in any of the games the T-Wolves won? And 3 of them were in Denver. And hey, Denver fan, I've got something for you. You're on the Ry-doe wheel, and I'm going to make sure that one comes up because you're pissing me off, Denver fan. But getting back to the point about teams looking in and looking at Sacramento and their pieces, there's not an NBA team right now that's going to take Sabonis. Not going to take that contract. Are you kidding me? I mean, Sabonis next year, 41.8, then it goes to 44.9, then it goes to 48, basically 0.1, and then $51.2 million. So Sabonis is locked in. And you know what that tells me? That tells me everybody is saying, De'Aaron Fox, De'Aaron, this is your team. This ain't your team, De'Aaron. This is Domantas Sabonis' team. At least the contracts, that's what that says. To me, that is saying, Domas, you're the man. We're building around you. You are a piece that's going to work in the system that we want to run. And don't tell me that we know the Kings' identity is a three-point shooting team, because every damn team in the league is a three-point shooting team. So first off, Kenny Smith said it great over the weekend when he was talking about Minnesota and Dallas and some of these teams improving at the trade deadlines. He's like, I get asked all the time, is that a good trade? Do you think that's going to work out? And he goes, most times I can't really answer it because they're teams that we don't know what style they like to play. One night they do this, the next night they do that. And I'm not saying he's talking about Sacramento, but Sacramento's definitely in that conversation. If you were going to group teams together in the NBA that also have that problem. Now, I just told you from the outside looking in, the order it goes for the NBA looking at Sacramento Kings if they wanted to make a trade and make a move for someone, okay? Now, let me tell you the order it is if the Kings are going to swing for the fences, because it's the order it has to be. De'Aaron Fox is the most movable piece on this roster. And most movable, I mean, if you're assume you're not giving up Keegan Murray, because really the Kings cannot and should not give up Keegan Murray because they've got him for 2 more years for the cheap. And Keegan Murray has improved leaps and bounds between his rookie and second year. And there is still a long ways to go with that young man. So I'm excited to see what's next for him. But with De'Aaron Fox sitting at $34.8 million this season, that to me is not that unfair of a number, especially because he's here now in Sacramento. Now, if he goes to a major market, if he went to the Knicks, if he went to LA, if he went to a contender in a major market, he is not a max player. He would be taking a pay cut. Those teams are not going to give him that big deal. So you guys remember DeMarcus Cousins when we started having the talk? Is he going to get a max deal? What are the Kings going to do? Is he going to be the guy? I mean, he's been here for how many years? And the Kings have missed the playoffs this many times. And we've had that many coaching changes, and you hear stuff about things off the court, right? Well, what did the Kings do? We weren't all that excited about the deal that the Kings made for DeMarcus, but that deal was made because DeMarcus was not in the long-term plans for this team. So I beg to ask the question to all of you. Is De'Aaron Fox in the long-term plans for this team? Because if he is not, it is time to move De'Aaron Fox. And I'm not saying that because of what he's doing on the court. I'm not saying that because he had a little bit of a regression this season. I believe in De'Aaron Fox. But if you are not going to commit to De'Aaron Fox, or you are not ready, by the way, Sacramento Kings fans, do you want to pay De'Aaron Fox more than Domantas Sabonis is going to make? Because that's going to be the ask. If De'Aaron is going to stay in Sacramento, he is going to want more money than Domas. There's no doubt about it, okay? So now you're going to tie your wagon to those two guys, both making likely over $50 million a year. I don't see it. You just had a 2-year sample size, a 2 freaking year sample size. And let's be fair, Sabonis has been here for 2.5 seasons, but in those 2.5 seasons, he's made the playoffs once and the play-in once. I know the play-in doesn't count. I'm not trying to raise any play-in tournament participant banners or anything like that, but it's better than nothing, right? And Fox, 7 years, a play-in and a playoffs. So if I'm the Sacramento Kings and I'm sitting next to Monty McNair, the decision on De'Aaron Fox is not after this year. The decision on De'Aaron Fox is right now. I'm sorry, Kings fans.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Because you can't let De'Aaron Fox walk. You can't if you're the Sacramento Kings. You let Bogey walk, you might have Malik Monk walking. De'Aaron Fox, total rebuild if he walks away for nothing. So that means his maximum value that you're going to get is right now. You are going to get max. The most you possibly could for De'Aaron would be right now in this offseason. this coming trade deadline, sure, you're still going to get good value, but then you have him for a season and a half if you're the team trading for him. If you wait till next season, you only get him for a year, and you're going to wind up in the same position Cleveland is going to wind up in with Donovan Mitchell. Now, could you always do a sign and trade? Sure. But is De'Aaron going to want to do that? That's a question that we don't know the answer to. Okay. But then if you fast forward to that trade deadline, if you got to trade him there, you have to, if you're not going to re-sign him. If you don't, he's walking. The Kings can't afford to play chicken. And guess what? The cars are lining up to go right now because De'Aaron Fox is on the clock. So tradability, De'Aaron Fox is the most likely King, in my opinion, to be traded. If the Kings swing for the fences, then it goes Keegan Murray, then it goes Domantas Sabonis. Sorry to give you bad news, but it jumps off the page to me. I don't see it any other way. I'm open to other arguments. Y'all just let me know. I mean, I'm hoping I'm not hitting you with anything too heavy on a Monday, but I mean, again, it could have. I don't know. Did that extension last summer possibly rub De'Aaron the wrong way? I could see it both ways. I really could. Let's get back to your comments really quick. I probably have lit the comments up with those takes. Let's see. Mike Conley underrated. We got that one. Yes. No, we did that already. Kings can get either Leonard Miller or TJ Warren from the T-Wolves, trade Davion. But that's the okay. These fringe moves, we're past the fringe move part. That's the problem. That was last offseason. Fringe moves aren't going to get it done for this team. This team, now that Dallas has made the Western Conference Finals, no, it's not going to happen. If I'm Vivek, I am pissed. Because although the Kings have been prudent and made good moves, they have been reactive. They have not been proactive. And now they're backed into a damn corner and they've got to land a haymaker. Dre, I'm sick to my stomach right now. Both so-called young, inexperienced players in Ant Edward, who is 22 years old, and Tyrese Halliburton, who's 24 years old, both from the 2020 draft, in the conference finals. That's not why I'm sick. That's good for the league. I don't have a problem with those two things. In fact, I'm a little bit relieved that Hallie is now in the conference finals, so we can put that argument behind us. You know, who's better, Fox or Halliburton? I know it comes up all the time. Like, why didn't the Kings trade Fox? You know, we should have kept Hallie. They didn't want Fox. You got to know that. Indy did not want Fox. It's the same situation right now that some teams are going to be looking at. They'd rather have Keegan Murray 100% than De'Aaron. But De'Aaron, if the Kings are going to be shopping pieces, De'Aaron has to be the piece. I don't see how the numbers make it any other way. And the trajectory, unless the trajectory of what the Kings want to do changes and you want to get a little bit more experience as opposed to more youth, you know, Keegan's probably not going to be going anywhere. Kevin hopping back in. They have to change. Yes, they do. Let's see. We've got another one. Sorry, computer's going a little bit wild right here. Let me put that back up. Okay, if Kings sign Monk, what forwards can they trade? Davion, Herter, Barnes, maybe the T-Wolves for Leonard Miller. Okay, we got that one. No. See, that's the thing. The T-Wolves are not going to want to take on those salaries, especially Herter and Barnes. They're not. They've got a lot of payroll right now. No Domas needs Fox. Monk, he'll be like his dad in Portland. Okay. I'm not ready to say Domas needs either one of those guys to be successful because we haven't seen it any other way. He hasn't been given another shot here in Sacramento to play with other guards. Now, I want to make this crystal freaking clear. I am not lobbying for a De'Aaron Fox trade. I am not saying a De'Aaron Fox trade is in the best interest of Sacramento. I am not trying to put De'Aaron Fox down. I'm simply saying if I work in the front office, that is how it's got to be because of the contracts. Because now with the new CBA, and I know, Ryan, you always talk about the CBA, but with the new CBA that's going into effect, the payroll is going to be a huge deal. Super teams are done. They are done. So I guess if you get 34 million and 37 million off the books, if you could get another serviceable point guard that runs the pick and roll, that is a team-oriented point guard. And I'm not saying De'Aaron isn't team-oriented. It's just De'Aaron many times has to be, in my opinion, do you guys hear that right now? I think you do. That's my phone ringing. Did you guys hear it? All right, let's go to the phones. We got a call coming in. 1 second. King's Court. Thank you for calling. Ryan here.
Ryan, what's up, man? It's TC.
Hey, what's up, TC?
Hey, what's up, bro? Hey, just tapping in, man. So, look, hey, I got a few points, man. Seriously, though, like on a serious note. So, as far as Halliburton and Fox, bro, like Kings fans, listen, bro. Seriously, it wasn't going to work with those two guys. It wasn't pure point blank. Everybody said they didn't want Fox. Well, the deal got done with Halliburton. Okay, so say if we did trade Fox for Sabonis. How is Halliburton and Sabonis going to work? They both want to be facilitators. Plus, they're both passive dudes. Like Halliburton, you still have to tell him to shoot a lot, even though he made those 6 3-pointers. You still have to tell that dude to shoot. Like Halliburton is good when your team is up, but when you're down, you can't find that guy. And I love Tyrese. I love his mentality. I love everything about the dude, bro. Yeah. But it wasn't going to work, bro. So we can't keep talking about, if we took Fox, Halliburton. No, bro, it wouldn't have worked like that. Halliburton wouldn't have balled in the playoffs last year how Fox played against the Warriors. Pure point blank. And I know that he went deep in the playoffs. He has Pascal. He has a team around him.
No doubt.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Halliburton he's a fine dude, Rhino, bro. But Fox is an all-around better player than Tyrese, hands down. Now, if you want to talk about facilitator and knowing how to talk to people and all that, well, that's Halliburton, bro. But as far as a player, Fox is way better. I'm not getting at you, Rhino. I'm just talking to Kings fans,
No,
bro.
I got you,
seriously,
TC.
though.
Yeah, no.
Like, seriously. And as far as, like, go ahead. I'm sorry, Rhino. You go. And then I'll go after you.
TC, I got you. Yeah, there's no doubt those two could not play together. You just can't. There's not enough basketball. They both need the ball in their hands. But on the flip side, TC, like, I get what you're saying. Fox is more talented, but Hallie's a better point guard in the NBA. How can you see it any other way? Dude's in the conference finals.
Yeah, but listen, hey, Rhino, they played up with 2 beat-up teams that had injured players, and he's on the East. I know it sounds like excuses behind it, but Halliburton had an easier route. And honestly, if Monk was healthy and we would have gotten the playoffs, bro, we would have matched that well with Denver and Minnesota. In my opinion,
TC,
I don't care what they're doing.
TC, I'm with you. I am with you there. That's why I'm saying you see Dallas in the conference finals, it freaking stings. I'm with you. If the Kings would have gotten in, I said it on the Kings Court this weekend, they would have been competitive. I think the Kings could have beaten Oklahoma City in the first round.
I'm serious. And I want you to bring this up with Grant, seriously. Yeah. And I'm going to call and ask about it, bro, if you did. Hey, so these are the moves, right? This is the move. Okay, so say if we don't swing, we got to swing for the fence. But say if we can't pick up a B.I., maybe a Zach LaVine or a Brandon Ingram, regardless of those moves, I know Monk is priority, but whether we bring Monk back or not, I truly think, bro, all-season moves should be picking up Valanciunas and Kelly Oubre, bro, to throw on our bench. Those are 2 dog mentality dogs that we need. Who's going to out-rebound us with Valanciunas and Domas as a back man, right? And also Kelly brings that wing help. And if we end up picking the 13th pick, I say go get the boy Zach Edey. Who's out-rebounding Domas, Zach Edey, and Valanciunas? It might sound crazy, Rhino, but what you think, bro?
TC, I mean, I appreciate it, man. It sounds like we're doing the Minnesota formula. Let's get really big. Let's just block the paint. I don't know if I'm sold on Edie Valanciunas. As of earlier this weekend, the Kings were the favorites, according to Vegas, to land him. He is a perfect fit. I'm glad you brought that name up because he can spread the floor with Sabonis. They're familiar with each other. They could play together. They could play at separate times. So I think that's brilliant. Oubre, I don't have a problem with that move. I mean, it's just, look, the Kings, as much as they've hit on the draft picks, they've also missed on the free agents. You know, Duarte, miss. I'm not ready to call Sasha a miss because he didn't get enough time last year. I think he's incomplete. That was his grade. But I'll certainly bring that up to Grant, TC. I mean, they have to improve the bench. There's no doubt about that. And the Kings did improve the bench last year. It just wasn't in the right places. Like the point guard position, TC. How do we address that point guard position, regardless of whether Monk comes back or not?
We can't forget about we got Kobe, but I know he's more of a wing, but I think he can shine in as far as like a point guard. We can't forget about Kobe, and also we can get into the free agent market and try to get like a point guard. We don't need a guy that's going to come in and drop 20 and 10.
No.
Like we're actually going to come in and like fill in. And honestly, if we run Davion back the way Davion played last season, bro, I'm fine with that. But if we want to move on from Davion, I'm cool with that too, to bring in like a better point guard. What I can say is if we do bring in a back-end point guard, let him have a little size on him, at least like 6'2". 6'3".
Yeah.
So we can have the length. Ry-doe, I'm looking for length. I'm looking at Minnesota. I'm looking at these teams, bro. If we can get long, we'd be straight. You get me?
I get you 100%, TC. That's what they, at the end of the season, that was one of the big differences for Sacramento. Hey, brother, I appreciate the call, by the way. Thank you. Hey, TC.
Thank you, Ry-doe.
You are a legend now in the King's Court. You are the first person to use the call line. So you will never be forgotten here, brother.
Thank you, Ry-doe, bro. So the Kings fans, like the beam, bro. Y'all don't trip. We're going to have a big summer, y'all. Get ready and grab your popcorn, man. I love all y'all. Peace.
Amen. That is TC. Wow. Told you guys the phone line works. Hit it up. 916-399-3748. You know my biggest fear? It's that I'm going to slip one day giving you that number and I'm going to give out my personal cell phone number. It could happen. Hey, 156 either checked in or watch it live right now on the Kings Court across numerous platforms. Couple X accounts streaming, Grant and Minds, our YouTube channels as well. Yeah, look, TC, I don't want to look in it. I get what you're saying in terms of Fox. I'm going to get back to the chat here in a minute, but yes, Fox is more talented. Like if you put Fox and Hallie and the rest of the point guards in a one-on-one competition, Fox is beating Hallie, but just the entire package. And yes, he has better. Well, does he TC? Do the Pacers have better pieces around Hallie than Fox? I don't know. Uh-oh, the phone line's going off. Welcome into the Kings Court. You're on with Ry-doe.
Hey, how's it going right now? This is Chad.
Hey, Chad. How you doing
long
today?
time, doing good. Long-time listener, first-time caller. But
Dude, love it.
I agree with TC for sure, man. Length has definitely been an issue for us for a long time, and it's just kind of one of those obvious things that I wonder, what the GM is thinking when they continuously do not address that issue, and you see it. The proof is in the pudding. What are your thoughts about their inability to address the length issue?
I think they've tried to address it at different times, but it just hasn't worked out. And then when they are not trying to address it, it works out. Like with Keon Ellis, right? Keon gets an opportunity this year because guys go down, the Kings struggle at times, and he steps in. And in fact, that to me was kind of the secret sauce for the Kings. I think that opened up a new way of thinking, because then sometimes you could say De'Aaron Fox, some of the other guards, Monk can be a defensive liability. But when you have a two guard, and the second unit needs a two guard like this too, that can be long, that can free up the other guys like a Monk to play a little bit of that free safety. De'Aaron Fox, he thrives off of that free safety kind of position where he can float back and forth in the defense when they can switch, when they can do things defensively to trick and mess with other teams, because the speed, the length, the talent is there. Basically they're interchangeable. So I'm with you. It's just there's not a ton of those guys on the market. And if you want to bring one up, I know it was brought up a few minutes ago, Colby Jones, he still needs time to develop. Colby by no means, in my opinion, is ready. And in fact, I don't think any of the Stockton guys are ready. Not to say they couldn't be ready, but you also got to look a little bit internally with what you have and how you could get it to a point where it's serviceable.
Right. Oh man. After I found out that we got the rights to Keon Ellis,
yeah,
I looked at some of his highlight videos from college. I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what we need. And it didn't take that long for that to see that on the NBA court. So yeah, that was a definite bright spot. I agree about Colby Jones too. I'm kind of excited about his future. I think that we're in a tough spot. We're trying to get to the playoffs, trying to get play-in, so we really can't afford to play young guys. But our core group just is not there. We're kind of in the no man's land of But I think I might be in the minority in this opinion, but I think that we should really swing for the fences on this draft. I think we should take this draft pick, and I think that we should draft some, a prospect, someone that we're going to have to work on for a couple of years. But, someone, like Yves Missy, is that his name? Or, even someone like Zach Edey, right? Someone who might not contribute right away, but I mean, it doesn't take long for some of these guys, like, the previous caller was saying, look, Ant and now Halliburton both only drafted a few years ago. They're doing it, So I think in the situation that we're in, I think that it would be in our best interest to swing for a home run and just take the time to develop a prospect, just get what we need. But anyhow, it's a good show, Ry-doe. I'd like to thank you and look forward to listening to the rest of the show.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for calling. I love the first timers. I appreciate it so much. Call again, please. You all are freaking killing it on the phone line. I'm going to let that thing ring all show. 916-399-3748. I do got to mute that because I don't want NBC to hit me for copyright. That would not be good. Hey, boss, your YouTube account with 7,000 followers. Yeah, you got a copyright violation. I don't know how it happened. It might have been my ringtone. What? Your ringtone? Yeah, my ringtone. They make ringtones still? You could do a song for a ringtone? Yeah, boss. You can still do that. But yeah, anyways, you guys get the point. Really, really good stuff so far. I guess the question becomes, do the Kings have time to develop another talent? And if you do, Domas is going nowhere. And Keegan, hopefully he's around for the long term. I don't see how Keegan can't not fit into what the Kings are doing. We're going to find out the player Halliburton is in the next season. Yeah, we'll see. Series, excuse me. I think, I got a funny feeling we could see Indy just because of, I don't want to say, Miles Turner has been incredible. So I want to see what he does. That pick and roll, that's something that the Kings, the first unit, absolutely has to get better at. Monk better than Fox and Howley. Interesting. All right, we got a lot of comments going. You guys can call 916-399-3748. You can also call via Restream like Dirk, my man Dirk. What's up today, buddy? Happy Monday.
Hey, happy Monday to you.
How you doing?
I'm just not much to say today. I heard some discussion about Keon Ellis and some people talking about Halliburton, his performance in the playoffs so far, and people wishing you had Halliburton. Generally Halliburton hasn't been performing super great. And you need to kind of think a little bit, I would say, about the two teams they played in the series. Getting to your Eastern Conference Finals is pretty impressive, but that would be like the Kings having played a long series against the Warriors without Steph Curry, because they didn't have Giannis the whole time. They're clearly their best player in the first round.
And Dame didn't come back till the end. He was hurt too.
Yeah. So who's that in just trying to compare the impact? I mean, a Warriors team without Steph Curry is probably equivalent to, the Bucks without Giannis, right? I mean, MVP caliber player. And so I have a coworker who's a huge Pacer fan, so he's really happy they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. We've been chatting a lot, and that team is deep. Like the Pacers are a really deep team, more so than a lot of the other teams in the playoffs. And taking this a step further, you look at them playing the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks have constantly sustained injuries throughout, and it took a 7-game. So as fortunate as the Kings were health-wise last year during the regular season, I think the Pacers have been fortunate in that area concerning the playoffs, right? They've just been really fully healthy. They've survived some subpar performance from Halliburton. And I love that he's being aggressive in scoring. Let's not take all the credit away or any credit away from him, because when he's been aggressive, it's been good, but they've struggled to do so consistently. And they had the Knicks did not shoot very well in that game 7. Did you watch the Timberwolves game?
Yeah,
yesterday?
I did.
Oh.
So first off, the refs, I don't have a problem with it because it's consistent with what they've done the entire playoffs. There was a play in the second half, Dirk, where literally Jokic bowed Towns, bowed him hard in the paint, and Towns just shoved him right back, literally back, and the refs are just staring at play. And it was an ISO play too. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have too many complaints. I mean, I was keeping my eye on the box score. When the Nuggets went up 20, I was like, oh, I guess this isn't even worth watching. And then I saw it was within a few points near the end of the third. So that's when I turned in and watched the end of the third and the entire fourth quarter. It was just fun to watch. I love that everyone's assumption about, which teams are going to win and how that can just blow up. That though the Nuggets were going to repeat, and Jokic is the best player in the world at all times. And I'm like, I don't know. This team is comprised of a lot of lengthy, tall defenders all around. And it's fascinating to watch that impact of that. Where was Aaron Gordon most of that series? He's a tall, lanky guy, strong, but definitely tall. I think he got neutralized by a lot of aggressive defense, and it was just really fun fourth quarter to watch, just that team come together. Rudy Gobert step up, and make some weird shots that nobody expected of him.
Yeah, that was weird.
But there's so many narratives Gobert has been getting hammered on by TNT constantly about his performance. They should sit him. And then apparently he's posting a plus 110 plus minus while he played this whole series. And why does the narrative not match the stats? What's actually happening? You can only watch the game to really figure that out. No one apparently, at least on a national media take, seems to have any real perspective on what's happening.
Yeah, media changes a little bit when it comes this time of year. You get some knuckleheads in there that shouldn't be and writing stories. They credential more people, but the bottom line is those guys with their length. I know it's come up a couple times, but Aaron Gordon, there were times where he guarded well on the perimeter. That 3 to end the third quarter by Anthony Edwards, incredible. He was guarded really well. Gordon was right there, and he's able to kind of hold it for a second, fade a little more, and let it go. So it's just the skill is higher with their skilled guys. And on the inside, they put up that it feels like one of those iron halos if you get 6 feet from the hoop. But Dirk, on the flip side, when they're not playing good defense, they are a completely different team.
Yeah, but I mean, they're the best team in the defensive team in the league, and they never gave up 100 points to Denver. So when were they not playing good defense? That's the big question.
Well, they did give up 100 to Denver, but just not when they won. So anytime that Minnesota won, Denver never scored 100 points.
All right. Thanks for the correction there. We should pay keen attention to Denver, because that is seemingly the blueprint the Kings 100%. Need to follow with their core, and why it fails. I mean, I noticed if Joker's on the, playing at the high post like Sabonis would, late in that fourth quarter, that ball didn't seem to go to too many guys' hands. They ended up resulting in Joker shooting 3-pointers, and I mean that clearly the defense was working, is all I'm saying. But I'd be curious to see how they evolve. There was a lot of discussion that they cut their bench, like they lost some key guys off the bench, and that's how quickly maybe these opportunities can collapse on your team. But the league will constantly evolve, and the new CBA. I think you're going to have guys that are much more value-based contracts rather than max contracts everywhere. Yep. So last thing to mention is Keon Ellis. Like I'm super high on Keon Ellis. Two areas of his game that I think he should improve. And Ryan, I want you to tell me what you think they are. What are the two glaring weaknesses, if any, in Keon Ellis's game? And
his left hand. His left hand, number one. And number two, pick and roll, probably.
I mean, definitively, I would say, yeah, pick and roll. He's always good to make the right pass, but he's not a scoring threat to some degree. The thing that stood out to me, and I'll ask the chat if they saw it too, is you notice like anytime there was a steal and fast break and Keon's on that fast break, quite often it results in a turnover, a missed opportunity, a missed shot, or maybe like he goes to the free throw line, but there was no chance for an and one there. And I really would love to see him, develop in those transition moments.
For sure.
Because every other player, I'd be that's one area I think Kevin Huerter plays pretty well, is on steals when those happen. But on top of that, just something that makes him an offensive threat. That could be a midi. I think we saw it late in the season. I saw a little 2-man action with him and Sabonis. I think he was trying to emulate Monk a bit. But the degree to which I think Keon grows is the degree to which De'Aaron Fox or Sabonis partners up with him to develop those elements of the game. So we'll see.
Amen. Good call, Dirk. Appreciate it, buddy. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Talk to you later.
Always. Talk to you soon, bud. We are killing it today on the King's Court. You guys are awesome. I love the calls. Keep them coming. 916-399-3748. Or you can call like Dirk did through Restream. What's up, Cody? I see you in there throwing a couple chats in. So I want to make it crystal clear. The point with what I led with today is not the Kings would be better with Halliburton. Not that. It's just, again, I'll go back to the one-on-one example, okay? The fact that, Hallie can run a team. He can do what he needs to do, but individually, he's not nearly as skilled as Fox is. Yes, the other guys get him a little bit more open at times, and Hallie's got a huge liability. His jump shot, it's good when it goes in, but it is not quick. I mean, he really, that's the flaw, and I wouldn't change it now. The coaches have not tried to change it, but that's the thing. He can't get a shot off quickly. De'Aaron Fox excels at that. And, the one-on-one, much better in De'Aaron Fox's corner. But going back to what Dirk said about the Denver blueprint. Now, I know that's more of a team construction, team chemistry thing, but, one thing I want to point out about the Kings, and he brings up a good point about Keon Ellis. And Dirk, I think that's going to come with time for Keon. The game's still kind of slowing down for him. And the Kings, I was happy, and I'll take this, Dirk, any day of the week. I will take a Keon fast break over a Domantas Sabonis fast break. I'm okay with a Domas fast break maybe once or twice a game, but the first half of the season this year, it felt like it was almost Domas exclusively running the fast break, which is a little bit of a problem because then you got the guards out running him. Jerry Reynolds explained it a few times for us. So Keon will get there. He certainly will. Teams are going to start playing him differently, but the most valuable thing that Keon got last year was minutes. It's the most valuable thing that could have happened for the Kings organization and Keon. So excited to see what he's going to do. Going to be interested to see if he gets run in the summer, in Summer League. He'll almost certainly play in the California Classic. I don't know if he'll play all the way through in Vegas. He might get the Keegan Murray schedule that Keegan had last year, but still much to be decided there. But going back to the Denver blueprint, if we want to take it a step further and we want to take it to on the court, that is a problem because you saw what happens and you brought up Jokic, kind of hanging out at the top of the key. He was hesitating a little bit. When he didn't hesitate, that's when he finally hits his first three later in the second half. But that's what happens when the point guard is either not using that big man or the point guard is being taken out of the game. And I felt like too many times this season, that's what was happening with Foxy. That's what was happening with Domas. It looks really awkward when you've got Domas on the wing and nobody moving because Domas isn't going to be beating anybody off the dribble. Now, that's not always the fault of the point guard. It's not always the fault of the off guard, but I think it's pretty obvious from the numbers that the first unit for the Kings completely went away from the pick and roll. To a degree, they went away from the dribble handoff. And, you can't properly use a talent like Sabonis if him and the point guard aren't completely in sync. And I know New York doesn't have one, but I use Brunson as the example. Brunson is constantly a threat wherever he is at on the court when he has the basketball. He uses his screens, and when he doesn't use the screens, he sets his defender up. So he thinks that he's using the screen. He can take it to the hoop, or he could pull back, take the jump shot. Our point guard, De'Aaron Fox, has all those things in his game alone. And it seemed like too many times this year, Foxy was trying to force it too much on his end, and Domas was trying to force it too much on his end. And I think it's the result of those two not using each other properly. I don't think we have gotten all of the juice out of that relationship. I think there's plenty of juice there. It's just really hard when you go and you see Foxy go from, and even Sabonis, both in the top 20 in turnovers this year in the NBA. Also, Fox goes from 4th in the NBA, or the inaugural clutch player of the year, to 4th in the NBA in missed field goal attempts. So I think that's too where some of that awkwardness came. And part of that is because of the supporting cast as well. They were not threats. The Kings were stagnant way too much on offense this year. Hey, we're going to get back to the chat here in a minute. We haven't even done a Ry-doe yet. We got to get a Ry-doe in here. Appreciate all the calls so far. Let's kick off the Ry-does. Let's see what we're going to get. Here we go. What's it going to be? Who's coming up? Rhino or Rico? Guess what? This is a segment where Rhino is going to make fun of himself. And I should make fun of myself because I'm going third person there. So Rhino or Uncle Rico, this actually goes with something else that's on the board as well. But I actually am kind of kicking myself. I don't know if any of you, if you played basketball or you played a sport in high school, college, or even if you did something else, if you were in the band or whatever, you get it. If you were in a club, something that you were passionate about, like I'm passionate about my son. Come in, son. Liam. Sorry about this. The little man just got home. Liam. 1 second. We're going to run this because my son is not coming in. Oh, there he is. Thanks, guys. All right. Ry-does. Ryan doing live radio with the little man coming in the door. How about that? Anyways, getting back to what I was saying. If you did of those things in high school, college, did you keep anything to remember yourself with or remember those moments? I was not big on keeping stuff. I just was not. I don't know why. There were a few things that I kept, but they were special to me, like our championship rings, things of that nature. You want to say hi to the people? That's the little man.
Hi, people. Kill my plant.
Oh, you get to see his plant. There you go. All right. I'm going to get back to my show. That is Liam. We'll give him a holy moly.
Holy moly, Jimbaboli.
Anyways, King's Court, it's relaxed here. But anyways, I didn't keep very much from those times. And I started to kind of kick myself about it. And I'm not talking about like, when I say Uncle Rico, like my brother, we had an 11-year difference between us. And I really wanted to make it a point not to be the guy that went back to high school in college. But then when my brother got, a little bit older and he started playing again and got into varsity sports, I'm like, all right, I'll go check you out. But before varsity was freshman football. And the first time I go back to my old high school, this is no joke. This is no joke. And it's probably before Napoleon Dynamite came out. Maybe it was before or right after. Anyways, go back to the old high school to watch my brother play a freshman football game. I run in to an old teammate. I don't run into him in the stands. I don't run into him on the field. I ran into him tailgating. Yes, tailgating at a freshman football game. Now, you think that's bad? Let's ante up. Let's double down on this. He didn't know anybody playing in the game. He was wearing his championship ring and his Letterman jacket. So could you see how I was kind of like, ooh, I never want to be that guy. Like, so I didn't keep stuff, but my mom did keep a few things that I was unaware of. When I was at SDSU, they wrote an article about waiting for the call, about me and some other walk-ons in the program. It's okay, buddy. And I just didn't keep a copy. Somehow my mom kept a copy of that. And she hands me this blue box just about a week ago. And I decided I wasn't going to go through it, but or I decided I wasn't going to go through it then. I went through it on Friday. And gosh darn it, it was a hell of a lot of fun looking back at those times, getting to show my son pictures of me where I was closer to his age than I am now. There was some like stuff I told my parents I didn't want to keep. Do you recognize some new stuff in the King's Court today? That was Jimmy Connor's racket cover, and he signed it to me. I didn't want to keep that when I was younger. That's a Thunderbirds hat that's signed by the damn Thunderbirds. I didn't want to keep it when I was younger. And somehow my mom knew to throw a few things in the box, and she did an excellent freaking job. An excellent job. And I had fun going through it. So I say, Rhino or Uncle Rico, what I'm telling you, encourage your kids to keep some stuff. Hopefully you kept some stuff. But yes, that is the Ry-doe. All right, let's get back to the chat really quick. We're still getting the Halliburton talks, damn voice typing. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you guys got a little inside King's Court there. The little man had to come and say hi to Dora. What's up? You need to sleep. All right, make sure you get your sleep. Let's see. Amar Monk for Sack Mayor, not Kevin Johnson. I don't know if that's gonna get it done, but we will see. My son texting me right now. This is really funny. How do you like Seahawks chances week 1? Cody, I don't even know who they play week 1. I don't know off the top of my head. Liam on Sacktown. Yeah, Liam and Sacktown doing Liam and Sacktown things. Yeah. So he loves plants like his mommy. So there you go. Look, Liam, you're getting some love on the channel. There you go. There you go, young man. I love it. All right, we'll go to the Ry-doe wheel one more time. Remember, 5 o'clock right here. Grant will be live, which means we're going to wrap up in about 20 minutes. And then 8 o'clock tonight, we will be back. We're going to do a open forum kind of scrum thing, talk about the weekend. Scotty Scheffler, really quick. I know C-Dog, I saw your comment about the PGA Championship. Xander Schauffele finally gets one done, knocks in a birdie on 18. DeChambeau, wow, what a way to come up the leaderboard, but it was too little too late. He was getting warmed up, ready for playoff. Did not happen. So Schauffele becomes a first-time major winner with the Wanamaker Trophy. Scotty Scheffler's, I'm going to take this off the wheel in case it comes up, but Scotty Scheffler's arraignment has now been pushed back. I said it over the weekend. I would be shocked if that felony charge was not dropped before or at the hearing, which was supposed to be tomorrow, the arraignment, and it has now been pushed back, I believe, a week. Tells you, in my opinion, everything you need to know. You can go back and listen to Saturday's King's Court. I'm not going to get into my legal take. I do come from a legal background. Therefore, I feel like I'm somewhat qualified to give my opinion on it. So I did that on Saturday. So that was a pretty cool thing. And you know what? Even though golf is a mess right now, and I mean a mess, it's a mess. It almost has better appeal they ever had before when it was outside of like the Tiger and Phil times, because you've got this live golf thing and you've got this PGA thing, and they only come together at the majors, right? And it seems like there's some bad blood there between the golfers. Some there is, but it's kind of like keeping up with the Joneses anytime there's a major. And I think like the competition and also the drama aspect of it is a little bit of what golf needed. Now, golf didn't need what live does. I think live is terrible. I mean, if you want to watch, if you're a fan of live golf, just go out to your local Muni on a Friday and look at their scramble tournament for some paper business here over, it's what it looks like. You've got the, shorts that the guys can wear, the scramble format, all that. And it's hard to take serious. It really is. The scoring is really, really weird. But I didn't get a chance. I don't want Giddy, dude. Giddy is not right for the Kings. And I don't know. I don't like that situation that happened earlier this year. Whether he was charged with anything or not, that to me, I would stay away from him. And the Thunder, he has not played well for them. So I'll go back and look at those here, or I'll look at them after the show and get back to you, Mr. Guru. I know that. So anyways, let's go back to the Ry-doe wheel, see what we can come up with. Haunted Horse, I hope yours comes up, dude. I really hope yours comes up. Here we go. Do. What's it gonna be? Is that a snake in your pants? All right. Yes. Did you hear about this story? Have you seen the movie Snakes on a Plane? Anybody seen the movie Snakes on a Plane? Yeah, well, you could argue, and no offense if any work for the TSA, but what do the TSA do? Let's be real. I mean, are they just there to give us a hard time sometimes? I appreciate them keeping us safe, but sometimes it goes a little too far. Anybody had the extra checks where they pull you to the side? And I'm there too. Huge pass on me. Where they pull you to the side, you get the extra extended, go through everything in your bag, yada yada. Some knucklehead. So the process, by the way, if you want to ship an animal, and this is a real thing, animals are on a lot of the planes, especially if you're going cross country. There is a good chance there is some type of exotic animal in the cargo area of the plane. Now, they're wrapped up and they are packaged per law and how they're supposed to be shipped, but they're there. Trust me. Well, some guy decided it was not really that big of a deal, and he didn't see anything in the TSA guidelines that said you couldn't put snakes in your pants. This dude had a couple of snakes in his pocket trying to board a plane to get through security, and TSA found snakes in his pants. Granted, they were not big snakes. They were smaller snakes. But, Like, what are you thinking? I mean, snakes on a plane? Snakes in your pants? Makes no sense. So that one caught me off guard. I went, duh, at that. I mean, if you want to try to get on like 5 ounces of liquid instead of 2 ounces of liquid, I get it. I get it. Okay, I'm going to end this show here. You guys are doing a great job of chatting about players and who you would like to see in Sacramento, some moves that you may like to make. But I want to end the show on a couple of different people, and we can continue. Please make sure you come back. Patrick, my man, dude, you know where I'm going right now. You know where I'm going. I told you that I was going to have something for one haunted horse. But anyways, make sure 5 o'clock, open forum with Grant. Come back in with us. We'll have a good time. He's solo on that one, but then 8 o'clock here on If You Don't Like That, we will be back and we're going to do an open scrum. So both Denver fan, number one, and some Indy fans were piling on this weekend. And I mean really piling on. And I get Hallie, he wore a Reggie Miller choking shirt to the press conference after game 7. Bold move. But, New York did say F you, Reggie, on national TV while Reggie's doing a game. So I get it. But what I don't get is when fans of other teams start piling on and taking shots at my Sacramento Kings when it's unwarranted, especially when we could be taking shots at you. This sound courtesy of the Jim Rome show earlier today.
Hey, Rome, these New York and big market idiots are unbearable. The Knicks are being talked about this much only because they are in New York, but their dumb, delusional fans don't seem to understand that. Hey, morons, you are still literally a joker, Anthony Edwards, Luka, or healthy Giannis from actually being a real contender. And you still wouldn't be favored to win it all if you had one of those guys. But yet all we see is Knicks basketball and Knicks fan losing it for making the second round of a JV tournament. You are so annoying. Your team couldn't even beat Sacramento in a 7-game series. You are as annoying as Laker fan, but at least Laker fan had a legitimate shot of winning the East. Go away for another 20 years. Oh, look who's back. Angry Jay in Denver. War offering your sisters.
Angry Jay in Denver. You can take a shot at the Sacramento Kings. You can't even beat the Sacramento Kings. Well, here's the problem I have with you, Angry Jay. The problem is this, dude. Your team could only beat the Sacramento Kings one time this year. You lost 3 of those matchups, and you're going to go in on us. We already had a hard enough weekend watching 3X Kings drop 91 in New York. We watched the Mavs go to the conference finals with a couple of moves. Yes, Gafford. Yes, Washington Jr. That, yeah, they would have cost a little bit, but it probably wouldn't have altered the core of this team. And just as Dirk said, TC, many others today, length. It's right there for you on display with those guys. So the Kings fans had to eat that. And then, we're sitting back watching the Denver, Minnesota game. And, it's been 20 years or what was it? 20 or 19 years since 20 years since the Timberwolves have been in the conference finals. What do we see, right? We see Chris Webber missing a 3-ball, game 7. Minnesota moves on. Okay, TNT, I got a little something for you too. I don't remember that Webber play. Do any of you? The only thing I remember from that series is Anthony Peeler's elbow in Kevin Garnett's face. That's what I remember. So basically, we got kicked in the balls all weekend as Sacramento Kings fans. And now this Angry Jay dude wants to come on a national stage and take shots at us when your team couldn't even beat us twice this season. And then this is after Minnesota fan came over and took over your freaking building, Jay. Like, seriously. And how lame is it that you've got to put your city's elevation on your jerseys, Jay? Is that the elevation for Denver, or how many Rocky Mountain oysters you've eaten in your lifetime? Get out of here with that Sacramento Kings crap. We are the loyalist and brightest Kings, obviously, fans in the NBA. Stop it. Denver fan gonna take a run at us when you can't even fill your damn building for a game 7? Seriously, was that game in Minnesota? Was it played on a neutral court? That's what it felt like. It had a high school vibe, Jay. Angry Jay. Get out of here, dude. And you, Haunted Horse, I've got something for you. You guys got to meet Haunted Horse on Friday. Well, Patrick rolls in here, really excited about the Knicks. And, Patrick took it like a man. He took it on the chin. And you know what? I am so proud of the New York Knicks, and I'm so proud of Knicks fan. They freaking showed up this offseason. Also, they showed their identity. That is a tough ass team. And I mean a really tough team. If I am a free agent, that's a team I want to play with. And oh, yeah, they're on a big stage. And oh, yeah, they're on their way up. They are. Okay. So lots to be happy about if you are a New York fan. I know it stings. I know losing Brunson in the second half just absolutely took the wind out of your sails, but I said it at the top of the show, and I will say it again right now. Indiana won that game. New York did not lose that game. New York left it all on the floor, and as they should have. New York gave those boys a standing ovation. Josh Hart fouls out. Standing ovation. Talk about a fan base that hasn't had a taste of success in a really long time, and they made every freaking moment count this offseason. And now this knucklehead, much like Jay from Denver, a Haunted Horse from Portland, starts weighing in on Patrick and I. Oh, well, I'm glad that they lost because I don't like James Dolan. Okay, cool. You could have had that take anytime, Horse. I know you've been saying it for 2 weeks. We've already known it. Why'd you have to rub that into Patrick, man? You know I'm going to take up for my man Patrick and not you, Haunted Horse. This ain't Gym Boys, dude. This is the King's Court. We don't give out any freebies like you. You're not the number one fan. Show me in writing that you're the number one fan. And I'm certainly not a fan of you taking a run at Patrick, much like Jay in Denver took a freaking run at the Kings. Because if there is one thing that I take freaking serious, it's all of you, and it's Sacramento Kings basketball. So make it a great freaking day. This has been a fun show. I don't know how many times I've said freaking. We're going to continue the conversation over to tomorrow. Still a lot to cover with the NBA. Still a lot to cover with your Kings. And don't forget, 5 o'clock today, Grant will be back with an open forum here on If You Don't Like That. And then 8 o'clock, we end the night with a open scrum. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. It will be a lot of fun. And again, it doesn't have to be sports related. It does not have to be sports related. We had a great show last week where we barely even talked sports. So thank you all so much for being here on the live edition of the King's Court. You got to meet Liam informally. And by the way, my wife and I, we should be on the Ry-doe wheel as well. We thought today was a minimum day. That's what we had it marked as. It was not. So we had to scramble to get some coverage, but we did indeed. So happy the little man stopped in to say hi once in a while. See, I trust you all. I think you are responsible. If I didn't, I would not let my son come on camera. So anyways, make it a great one. We will see you later tonight. Show up for Grant at 5, show up at 8 with both of us. And as always, we will be back tomorrow with an all new King's Court. Amazing calls. Love the first time call. Love that you're using the phone line now. Glad that you got to hear it work. And hey, Tador, take us out.
Holy moly, Jim Bowley.
Love it. Go Kings. Light the beam. Court is dismissed.